Hey guys, Karl here, and today I want to quickly share my prediction of how the meta will shift in the 10.7 patch of Teamfight Tactics Galaxies. In this video I won't go through every detail of these patch changes and the reasoning behind it. For that, Riot Mord has made a fantastic video and I'm sure many other YouTubers will do that as well. I will link the video in the description. Instead, I'm focusing on which comps probably won't be played as much anymore, and I want to share one team setup with you that in my opinion will dominate patch 10.7. So let's just jump right into the video and try to predict in terms of how the meta will change. Alright, and here we are. So before I jump into it, I also want to mention this infographic. It's really awesome. It's also posted on competitive TFT. So I'll also link that in my video description. Really helpful, and you can also see quickly what the biggest changes are in the patch. But what I quickly want to do is I want to jump right into the comms. So what I've prepared here are some of what I think the most overpowered comms at the moment. The compositions that really could guarantee you a win. And then I have prepared one comp that I think after the patch goes live will be 100% the most dominant comp in the meta. From my opinion, that is where, maybe I'm wrong, but I think this is where it's going to go. So, first of all, of course, biggest OP comp at the moment, Rebels with Aurelion Sol, and then you add in the Gangplank, the Misfortune, and the Lulu at level 9. So before level 9, you maybe want to take out MF or Lulu, but for sure you want to have the Gangplank in there as soon as possible. And how that played out was you had a GA on Gangplank, and he pretty much would carry you. So he would get off one ult at the start of the fight, and that ult would pretty much one-shot the entire enemy team. You could even do something like this, and you're pretty much guaranteed to win if you have Gangplank too. It was super stupid. I still don't understand till this day why there wasn't a hotfix, but okay, was not good for the meta. And then you stack the Aurelion Sol, and he basically cleaned up the stuff that Gangplank left on the map. So this is how this comp worked. Pretty hefty nerfs to Gangplank and Aurelion Sol. I like to see that. So both of these units won't be as popular. I still think if you get these 2-star and you get all other units 2-star in this composition, it's still a good composition. I'm just not sure if it will be as dominant. Well, I'm sure it won't be as dominant as before. And Misfortune also got a nerf, but also buff. Her targeting works better now. So once she kills a unit, she refocuses on another target. That might actually be a buff, although her overall damage got nerfed. So we have to see how that plays out. Maybe Misfortune has even be buffed with the patch. Who knows? We'll have to see. So this won't be as dominant as before. So let's just assume this is not an S tier comp. This is more of an A tier comp and an S tier comp if you get every unit that you need and all good items. So then we have this comp that dominated also a lot. This was basically developed as a counterplay to the Rebel meta, and you basically only can play it if you're not too contested with the Protectors, and then you try to 3-star the Xin Zhao and the Rakan. And mostly you also get a 3-star Nico and a 3-star Jarvan, and it depends on how strong you're rolling. And then if you get the Dragon's Claw and the Bramble Vest, your Xin Zhao becomes almost of an unkillable carry that will completely destroy the entire enemy team. And then you add in 4 Mystics to support the Xin Zhao surviving the battle. So this was pretty OP if you were not contested. If you were contested, it sometimes was kind of a high risk, high reward situation. If you hit the 3-star Xin Zhao, you probably will finish top 3. If you don't hit it, you will finish bottom 8. So yeah, kind of also strong comp. Xin Zhao got nerfed quite heavily. It does not seem as much, so if I go back, so Xin Zhao mana got changed from 50 to 60 mana, so he needs longer to get the Protector buff basically he recharges the buff every time he activates his ability. It takes him longer now, so that's a pretty heavy nerf to how Xin Zhao works. I still think if you get a 3-star Xin Zhao, he will still be pretty strong. I just think it's not as dominant as before. So this might also not be an S tier anymore. We have to see like how hard this really hits the Xin Zhao. What you then want to do is take a look at Cybernetics. In my opinion, this is interesting. So Cybernetics did not get hit that hard by the nerfs. So Aurelia still. So Echo got nerfed. Echo got nerfed in terms of damage, but I still think how I play Cybernetics, Echo wasn't my main carry. I always thought Aurelia was the better carry in this comp, so you want to itemize the Aurelia and then the Echo. Actually, you can also build Thieves' Gloves, and that should work pretty well, but now Echo does less damage. I still think Echo is not a good unit, and very often in specific situations where you face units like Aurelion Sol, or you want to play something like Misfortune, it just doesn't work because of the very specific ability of Echo. So I don't think the Echo nerf will affect this composition that much. What affects this composition is an Lucian buff. So Lucian got buffed. And now every time he ults, he fires an additional bolt. And this bolt also now procs all on-hit effects, plus it also procs the blaster proc. So that is a huge buff to Lucian. So I think the red buff is now more worth on Lucian, but the red buff got nerfed. So it got so the damage goes down by 10%. That's not too much, but I still think this is the core item in this build. But at the same time, this will nerf the whole composition. And Ezreal got nerfed, so Ezreal's damage got nerfed. But I don't think that's a huge deal. What you want with Ezreal is rather his ult and the blaster proc, so that's fine. And apart from that, this composition stays pretty much the same. Lulu got quite a nerf, but it's not that hard. It's more like if you get a Shojin, you might consider putting it on Echo instead of Lulu. But I still think like the nerfs here weren't too bad. I think Cybernetics is still an S tier comp. You just maybe have to adjust how you play it. So we will have to see if we adjust one or two things in this composition. Mana Reaver got changed, so maybe you want to consider activating the Mana Reaver on the Aurelia now. And this means we get out Lulu. Lulu goes on the bench, and instead you want to play the Thresh. So if we have Thresh here, there he is. And then he just pulls in the Lulu. So you basically still play the same comp, just that you have the Thresh in there to proc the Aurelia Mana Reaver. And because Thresh also gives you Chrono, you might consider adding something other in here. And no, not Valkyrie. I outlined that in my guide. Please don't add Valkyrie in here because of the Echo. Alright, so this is basically this comp. I still think S tier comp. We just have to figure out how we change this build a bit based on the changes. The other that we discussed so far, I think they got hit quite hard. Then we have over here the Mech-Pilot Infiltrators. So, Mech-Pilot Infiltrator. Shaco got nerfed. And quite honestly, I don't understand why. Because getting a 3-star Shaco should feel rewarding. If you get a 3-star Shaco, it should be hard to defeat you. And it was not impossible. In the games I played in Diamond, there were games where I had an enemy who had a 3-star Shaco and I still defeated him. Because, you see, if you rely on one carry like Xin Zhao and Shaco, it is not impossible to kill these units if you know how to play it, if you know how to play certain items. But now they are hitting Shaco quite hard with their nerf. So they nerfed Shaco from 400% damage, spell damage scaling to 450%. That's quite a hefty nerf. So I think before you could play this comp when you were uncontested. So what I would do is I would wait in the lobby, look if anybody else goes Infiltrators, and if that wasn't the case, I would play Infiltrators. I would roll for 3-star Infiltrators, and then you can pretty much guarantee a top 2 placing. So that was interesting. Now I'm not so sure anymore, because 3-star Shaco is not as good anymore, and he might not be able to carry you enough in the late game. So we have to see if this is also still an S tier comp. Yeah, depending on how hard these nerfs are hitting. And then over here we have Darkstar. So Darkstar is very situational, and I see that now quite a lot from some challenger streamers who like to transition to Darkstar at level 9, at level 8 when they hit the Lulu. Because with the Darkstar build, and if you have these items on Jhin, you need Celestial, so Jhin heals herself. The whole build is designed around the fact that when a Darkstar dies, he gives 50% increased damage to another Darkstar, and the other Darkstars are designed to die very, very fast. And then Jhin has like insane damage. So with the Celestial buff, Jhin heals full with every auto attack. So unless the enemy has heavy CC, the Jhin is going to kill the entire enemy team. So that's the idea behind this build. I still think, I'm not quite sure why it was so popular and why it works. Because in theory, the only thing you have to do is kill the Jhin early enough before the damage proc hits. So you have to have something that jumps into the backline. And Darkstar is not worth. So I'm actually not sure if this is S tier or rather A tier. But alright. And then the last one is Brawler Blaster. I also not sure if this is S tier anymore. At the start of this meta, at 10.6 meta, it turned out that many people were going Blaster Brawler. But in my opinion, it's not as strong as the other comps I showed you so far. If the other comps were in your lobby and this comp was in your lobby and you were playing it, you probably won't place top 2. It's more of a top 4 comp. It consistently can get you to top 4 situations. But I feel like it lacks something in the late game. It's just not quite there. Even if you would itemize everything correctly, if your front line dies, your back line is also pretty dead fast, pretty dead pretty fast. Holy moly. Well, either way, I think this wasn't strong before. Now the Brawlers got nerfed, and potentially the EMF got nerfed, but in any case, the Ezreal got nerfed. I don't think this is playable in high elo anymore. So overall, if we look back at now what I basically showed here, nearly every top tier S tier comp got hit by one or more nerfs. There is basically none of these comps are 100% playable anymore except the Darkstar variant, and like I said, I don't think it's that strong. But now, okay, so let's just establish the idea behind all of these changes from Riot was that they wanted to make the meta a bit slower. It was very explosive in the late game. At level 9, fights were super explosive. You had like a few seconds and then the fight would be over. And with all these nerfs, they nerfed the 5 costs, so the 5 costs were too overpowered. And they tried to slow down the game. We have to see if it works. If it works, this is the comp you want to play. And there's so many reasons for it. Let me just start by the following. 2 Mystics got buffed. So this already helps you with magic resists. Then Sniper got buffed. And I don't quite know why. This, by the way, is a comp that could also work today. So I also think this would be an S tier comp if not as many people would go Vanguard in the early game. So if you want to place top 2 at the moment with this comp, you can do it if you can 2-star the Mordekaiser. Because how this build works is your backline does a lot of damage and the front line tries to drag out the fight as long as possible. And the Mordekaiser 3 with these items can hold out so long because his shield gets massive, he gets a lot of healing of his ult, and he has a lot of HP. So it gets almost impossible to kill him, and in the meantime, Jhin just shreds through the enemy team. Now, with his sniper buff, with the buff of 2 Mystics, with the change of Darkstar, so I actually now think Darkstar is better, because if the Karma dies, because she gets hooked by a Blitzcrank, she immediately will give AP and AD buff to both of these units, so Mordekaiser will get even more unkillable, and Jhin will get even more deadly. With all of these changes, and by the way, Hextech Gunblade got also buffed with a bug fix. So Hextech Gunblade now works properly against shield. Before it was not working. If there was a shield, Hextech Gunblade would not heal you. So there are so many aspects why this comp got buffed. And Wukong also got more HP. So nearly every aspect of this comp got buffed. And I would even argue that as of today, you could play this and win games with it. 100% this will be the most dominating comp in the next meta, and you don't even need in the future, I think, Mordekaiser 3 for this. You could play this with Mordekaiser 2 in the future. You might just want to distribute the items differently, but overall I think this will be the strongest comp. So if you want to win games, once 10.7 drops, just pick up this Vanguard, Darkstar, Mystic, Sniper, Celestial comp with Jhin carry, and I'm sure you will win a lot of games if you get these units to start. My biggest fear is that it will be too contested because many people see this right now. Many people see how this could be very, very strong. Many people will try to pick up Jhin. So it's almost, and I'm a bit afraid of that, will become a race to whoever gets Jhin to start will win the game. And yeah, so let's see how this plays out. I think this is where it's going with the meta. And please leave your comments if you see another comp rising out of the dark now with all of these S tier comps nerfed. I think the other S tier comp still will remain Cybernetics. It's too strong. It didn't get hit that hard by the nerfs. So let's see how the meta develops. Good luck out there and see you in the matchmaking. Thank you.